which are running on AWS cloud or maybe on any cloud, right? For example, we have a Jenkins server, and on that particular Jenkins server, there are maybe 100 or maybe 200, maybe 1,000 of jobs are running. So every server has its own capacity. Moreover, we want to ensure that whenever any jobs gets executed, so that job should be executed on an individual server. For example, I have one Jenkins master and maybe 3 Jenkins slaves. So I want one Jenkins slave should be responsible for, okay, let me draw a diagram for you guys that will look more better. Okay, so I'm going to draw a diagram for you, so as you should be able to understand that, right? So guys, if you have any question, you can write in comments or in message box, so I'll be there to help, right? Fine. So I am going to prepare a particular diagram for you guys. First of all, let us say we have this server, we have this infrastructure. This is our Jenkins master. So I'm going to configure, I'll show you that how to configure Jenkins master as well. So this is Jenkins. So guys, what is Jenkins master? Let me tell you that thing as well. So Jenkins master is a standalone Jenkins server. Until unless you associate any slave server with Jenkins, so obviously that server is going to work as master only, right? Now what I'll do over here, I will have a Jenkins slave. Rather than writing Jenkins master, I'll just change it to Jenkins slave. Fine. And let me have couple of copies of it. Fine. But why I'm going to create couple of copies for this particular server? I'm going to tell you that particular part as well, because first of all, our concept has to be clear. So let us say I have 3 different environment. Let us say very first environment I have for QA. It means quality assurance team. We have first environment for, like QA team is responsible to perform multiple things here. We have QA environment. Then after we have maybe SIT environment. SIT means system integration test. Once developer says that I have done the development and QA team says that we have checked the code quality. So in that case, wherever we do deployment and wherever we try to implement the code, so that particular environment is known as SIT. And let us say we have another environment which is responsible for maybe dev environment. It means all the developers work on this, right? So we have dev environment. So guys, today we are going to see only one environment. Let us say, obviously, like same steps will be followed there. We will have to perform the same thing. But when we talk about that, is there any like requirement which gets changed if we add multiple slaves? So my answer here is going to be no. There is no additional requirement. If you can configure one slave with Jenkins master, so you can configure as many as you want based on your requirement, based on your need. Now there is one more additional interview question, guys, and the question here is that, okay, when we configure Jenkins master and slave, right? So in that case, there is a requirement that I want to run a specific type of job on Jenkins dev server, individual type of like jobs on Jenkins slave, and individual type of Jenkins maybe QA environment, right? So what I'm going to do here is I am going to create couple of like EC2 machines here. Obviously, I'll create only 2. One machine will be utilized for Jenkins master, and second machine will be utilized for Jenkins slave, right? So let me see that what region I'm working in. So this is my North Virginia region. Guys, keep this thing in mind whenever you start working with your Jenkins. So keep this thing in mind once you complete your practical, so you do not forget to delete your machine, right? So okay, my billing dashboard, I am not going to I'm not supposed to go here. Okay, so this is my EC2 section. I will go to Mumbai region because I want to perform this practical in Mumbai region. Fine, I'll go here, and after that what I will do here, I will definitely create 2 machines. These could be of Ubuntu or these could be of any. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I will create 2 machines here. See, whatever machine you want, you can create. There is no problem at all. So what I'll do here is I'll launch 2 instances. And just for a reference, guys, I will perform this practically in such a way like I'm performing as a beginner. I do not remember the steps, right? I will take you to a website which is of Jenkins official website, and over there we will start performing things. So guys, you can see like I'm going to create 2 instances. Both are going to be in like any default availability zone. I'm not going to select any of the options because we have discussed these options before as well, right? So rather than having a lot of space on the server, because this is going to be for demo purpose, So I'm going to select only default space here. Then after I will add a name, and obviously once I'll create two machines here, so let me define here Jenkins only. Then after we will bifurcate like what one is going to be Jenkins master and what is going to be Jenkins slave, right? So I'm going to say Jenkins, right? In description box as well, I will type in here Jenkins. First of all, I'll need to open port 22. Reason being because I'll need to do SSH. Then after custom port I will open, and the custom port is going to be 8080. Why it is so? Because as we know that Jenkins works on port number 8080 by default. Although we can change the port, we will learn that later on. But obviously for now we are going to open port 8080, right? I'm going to launch the machine. Obviously I will be asked that what do you have an existing key pair. I'm going to say that I do not have that, and I'm going to create new Jenkins key, right? And Mumbai. So I'm going to download this key pair. I'm going to launch this instance. So guys, this will really help you out while you are going to prepare for your interview and other stuff. So it will definitely be beneficial for you if you know this particular thing in a practical manner. That is why I am going to show you this thing, Jenkins master. So guys, what we are doing here is, although we created both machine at the same time, but just for bifurcation that we should be knowing what server will be working as Jenkins master and what server will be working as Jenkins slave. That is why we are going to perform this stuff, right? But guys, keep this thing in mind whenever you are going to perform this sort of practical. So there is no additional need. See, this is just a naming convention that obviously this is our choice that we are going to install Jenkins master on this machine, and we will be performing Jenkins slave on this machine, right? But obviously as these machines are just created, there is no additional configuration as of now. So you can change them, like you can select this particular master and you can use it as slave, and you can decide that this slave should be working as master. You can do it, right? Because these are just naming convention only. And why we are going to do it? Because obviously first of all we should be very clear that what we are going to do with what type of server, right? Okay, now first of all what I'll do here is I will have to log into this server. Reason being, I need to connect to my server. And what I'm gonna do here is I'll go to my download sections and I'll run a command chmod 400 Jenkins -key -mum.pam. This is my Jenkins key. I'll log into this machine, and after logging to this machine, let me increase the font size a little more for you guys. What I will do here is I'll log in with root user. Fine. So what we are going to do here is I'll run a command apt, because obviously I'm working with Ubuntu. Apt get update. What does this command do? So let us say this image of machine was created maybe 6 months ago, and since then there are a couple of packages, either version has been updated or maybe there were some like security fixes were there. So right now what we are going to do here, we are going to update the package dependencies, right? We are going to update the particular packages which are available on this package, and we are just downloading information from these URLs. So whatever URLs are there, so there is a particular configuration file. I will show you that where from do these URL appear and what does happen here. So I'm going to show you that. But before that, we should be knowing that what does this command do, like apt get update. Most of time, every Ubuntu user, whenever they try to install any package, they love to run this command. But if we do not know, that's not a good thing, right? So now let us go to one more option here, like etc apt. So there is one particular directory, and over here we have a file here like sources.list.d. So guys, they like this is the particular directory, right? Source.list.d. And if we talk about here, so there is one more particular file. If we talk about here, like we can use this like sources.list. This is the particular package. So all the particular files which you were seeing there when we executed the command, like apt update, apt-get update, so these were the packages where from the packages were getting updated, obviously. So if we need to add any other source code repository or we need to perform any other thing, so definitely we are going to do this thing only, right? Now what happens here, whenever we are going to install Java, so guys keep this thing in mind, Java is mandatory to run Jenkins. This is one interview question, guys, that what version of Java is required to run Jenkins. So Java 7, it means Java 1.7 or higher version of Java is required to run Jenkins on your server. So let me check that whether Java is available or not. So guys, keep this thing in. See, like Java command is not available, but obviously like this particular operating system itself suggesting me that if I want to install Java, so I can run this command. And what I'll do here is I'll mention one asterisk here, which means it is going to download 1 GB of data, and that data will be installed onto my disk. If you remember, so at before some time we added 8 GB of disk onto my operating system, and that is why like it is going to add that sort of thing, right? So in the meanwhile it is going to download the keys, or it is going to install the software there. What I'm going to do, I'm going to log in and I am going to run other commands over there. Fine. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to log into another server, and after logging to that server, I'll do the same option there as well. Because see, like it is of no use that we are just sitting idle and we are just waiting that obviously this particular will be installed, and we have to configure 2 servers here, so we can run the particular system in parallel. And just to bifurcate these things, that there should be no confusion while we are working with these servers, I will define the naming convention as well, that I'll define a host name. First server will be known as Jenkins master and second server will be known as Jenkins slave, right? So okay, so this is my system. I'll go to download because obviously I know my key is placed here. I'll log into it, and without explaining this sort of command, because I have executed all the commands just before a moment only, I'll run this command now. I'll run apt-get update. I'll run this command, and after running this command, once again for sure, what I'm going to do here is I am going to execute the particular Java command, right? Okay, so almost this is done. We are done with this. So let me set the host name to Jenkins. Let us say slave. So this is just a host name, slave, slave. Fine. So if I log out and log in again with root user, then definitely I can see that this is the particular name of this server, right? Now I'll run the same command again. Maybe I'll run this command Java. It will give me option to install Java, that how you can install Java here. I'll mention with -y. It means it will start installing Java onto this operating system, right? In the same way, now let me define the name here as well. Maybe host name is the command Jenkins master. I'll clear this. I'll log out, log in again. So you can see this is Jenkins master, right? So what I need to do here is I'll run a command apt-get install Jenkins, right? So it is saying Jenkins is no package. No Jenkins package is available, and Jenkins has no installation candidate. So what I'm going to do here is I'll go here and I will say, just I'll type in here install Jenkins on Ubuntu. Ubuntu, right? So there will be first URL. No, it is second today. So that completely depends like what sort of URL you are going to talk about. So there are two URLs, maybe www.jenkins.io. Either you can opt this one or maybe DigitalOcean one. So any of the URL you can pick. So we are going to work with this sort of URL, right? So over here they have specified all the steps. Maybe if you want to install Jenkins on Docker, if you want to install Jenkins on any of the like server environment, so whatever you want, you can run that, right? So if I want to run Jenkins on Ubuntu, then obviously I will have to look for that, because by default it is suggesting me that run your Jenkins on Ubuntu. So I'm not going to do that. So what I'll run, so if you want to run your containers on Jenkins and whatever you want, you can like go through this particular URL. So what it is saying, like Jenkins installers are available for several Linux distributions like Red Hat, Ubuntu, Debian. So what we are going to do here is, like obviously we will be performing these steps. First of all, I'll run this command, right? So guys, obviously I am performing like I do not know where to download the things from. So guys, what we are going to do, obviously we will add this particular, we will run this command. It is going to say okay, right? Then after we will run this particular command. It means right now what we are going to do, if you remember when we ran a command apt-get update, so at that moment these sort of URLs were there, and right now same thing I'm going to perform. It means I'm going to add this URL into this particular file, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run this particular command. This command is executed, and if I want to show you earlier, like there was no file in this particular directory. If I go inside this, so right now there is a file jenkins.list, and if you see there is only a single line written here, right? And this particular file is going to be responsible to provide me the URL which is related to your Jenkins, right? So I'll run the next command here, and next command is going to be apt get dash update. I will run this command. What it is going to do right now, it will not do anything else, but obviously the particular jenkins.package get, see guys. So this is going to like add this one as well. And if I run the next command which is shown on that particular web page, like apt get install Jenkins, why I'm not popping this sudo command? Because I am already logged in with root user. So if you are working with root user, then there is no need to run the sudo command, right? So I will hit this command. So it is going to say once again that it will download 67.7 MB of data and it will copy it, right? So I'm waiting for it to download. In the meanwhile, guys, if you see that my one of another server is already having Java configured. So guys, you need not to do anything. You can run a command to check whether Java is installed. Java dash version. So the guys, the particular version should be more than 1.7 or 1.8. If you have Java installed in your operating system which is lower than 1.8 or 1.7, your particular system will not work, right? So I'm just waiting my Jenkins to get downloaded and to get started. After that, immediately we will start working on the server, and obviously we will see that how do we configure Jenkins slave and master. But in the meanwhile, I would like to tell you that how does it work. So guys, as we know very well that Jenkins works on port 8080. Let me type in here what is default port of Jenkins, that is 8080. But what happens when we talk about Jenkins master and slave configuration? So every Jenkins by default, I'm talking about, I should not be saying like this is universal fact that it works on port 8080 only. You can modify that port, but by default this works on port 8080, right? But when we talk about Jenkins master and slave configuration, so whatever slave you want to configure, let us say this is going to be Jenkins slave, this is my Jenkins slave machine, and this is going to be for QA environment and whatever. Fine. So what we have to do here is we will have to open connection between these two machines on port 2020 as well. Why it is so? Because whenever we are going to like initiate a connection, fine, so that will be over SSH protocol, and that will be that will also be like passwordless, or you can call it like key based authentication should be there. Either you can type in here maybe passwordless, or you can type in maybe key based authentication. So whatever terminology you like, you can do it. So port 22 should be able to access, like the Jenkins user of this server should be able to access any user, maybe that is Jenkins, that is Tomcat, or whatever user you want to create here. So that should be accessible on port number 22 without any password requirement, right? So this is this is what we are going to configure. So as you know that we have these two servers, this is Jenkins master, right? And this is Jenkins slave. So what I'm going to do here is, first of all, I will create a I will log in, I will check whether the particular service is available here or not. So what are the things available here? I'll check the command that I have installed Jenkins. So if I want to check whether my Jenkins is running or not, so I'll run the command ps fax, then grep and Jenkins. So obviously my Jenkins is running, and if you want to see like who is owner of this, then rather than running faxu fax, you can run a command faxu, u for user. It will define that what user is responsible to execute this process, right? So now I'll do one thing, I'll run a command su-jenkins. Reason being, I want to log in with Jenkins users. What is my present working directory? So guys, keep this thing in mind, this directory could be any. This is not a this is not mandatory that always Jenkins should be running in this directory only. But by default, whenever we install Jenkins with any RPM or maybe with DPEG or DPKG packages, so by default this is the default directory which comes within Jenkins folder, right? Which comes with Jenkins RPM. So what we are going to do now, we will do one thing here. We will generate one SSH key here. We will generate SSH hyphen key gen hyphen T and RSA or DSA, whatever you want. But for this practical, for this session, I'm going to do RSA only. I'll hit enter 2-3 times, and obviously it will show that these are the particular files which are generated, right? So this is the location which I want to copy. So what I'll do here is, I'll copy the particular key files from here, right? I'll copy this particular, and rather than doing anything else before, so I'll do one thing. I'll run a command add user, because over here this is my Jenkins slave. Keep this thing in mind. This is going to be my Jenkins slave. Over here I am not going to do anything else apart from creating user and making one SSH key based authentication. So I'll add a user Jenkins. So username could be any. So I'll define a password here. I'm not going to tell you my password, that has to be secret. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create this user, right? Now what I'll do, su dash Jenkins. Now I'll see here whether there is a directory created or not. So there is nothing right now available. So only bash rc, bash profile, and bash rc, these are the files which are created. So guys, what is the next requirement to perform this practical? Now I need to make this particular user to be able to, this particular server should be able to accept connection from Jenkins master on basis on the password, right? So what I'm going to do here is I am going to copy these keys onto my Jenkins slave server. This is how the process works, right? But over here there is no .ssh folder. So what I'll do here is I'll run a command ssh Jenkins @localhost. I'll run this command, and what this command will do, obviously there is some error, but if you see that after running this command there is a particular directory created which is .ssh. So guys, keep this thing in mind when you are going to run this command. It could be possible that you might know that what are the permissions you could have run this, you could have created this file with the help of mkdir command, but after creating that file manually you were supposed to like set the permission of this file to 700, right? But when you executed this command ssh Jenkins @localhost, this particular has created this directory for me, and apart from creating this directory it has created one file as well, like non-host, right? As soon as I typed in here yes, so that non-host file is created, and even I am able to create other files as well. So what I'll do here is I'll create a file authorized underscore key, AUTHORISED, authorized underscore key. Now there is a particular problem. So whether that is S or Z, there are two things, authorized underscore key. So ideally if I say that spelling is right, but what actual file name I have to keep there is, so that will be a thing to discuss. So for knowing that actual name, I'll go to there is a file etc sshd underscore config. So over here there are multiple files. See guys, over here this is a particular file, like either the file name has to be this or file name has to be this. So right now the particular file name which I was typing, so it seems similar, but if you do not create the exact file name, then obviously that is not going to work for you, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'll create a file with the same name as that was available or that was mentioned within etc sshd underscore config file, right? So what I'll do here is I will paste the keys here. And guys, what are the keys here? As you can see that I'm working currently on Jenkins slave, and these are the keys of Jenkins master, right? Okay, so I'll go to Jenkins master right now, and what I need to do, I need to copy the IP address of this machine, right? And after that, what I'm going to do here is I am going to define that right now we are able to do SSH like Jenkins @server IP address. I will define here. I'll hit enter. I'll say yes. And if my keys are placed perfectly fine, then obviously I should be logged into Jenkins slave user without having any difficulty. So guys, see it here where I am right now. I am at my Jenkins slave, right? But if you see that it is saying connection logged out, it means I hit this command, like I'm working on Jenkins master and I need to log into my Jenkins slave, right? Which is this is the IP address of my Jenkins slave. If I hit enter, so I will be able to log in without providing any username and password. So okay, let us go back. So what we are going to do here is, so guys, if you remember that we were supposed to configure something, and what was that? We were supposed to configure Jenkins master and slave. So right now what I'm going to do, I will copy this IP address, and obviously like I do not want to have all these URLs right now with me. So what I need to do, I will hit port 8080. Now as soon as it will come, it will show, it will ask, it will tell me that there is a particular password which is one time usable password. So I'll have to log into my Jenkins master. See, this is my Jenkins master server, and I will paste the file name. So as soon as I paste it, so there is a particular password, and this is one time usable. We have seen this thing earlier as well in previous tutorials. So what I'm going to do, I'll hit continue. I'm not going to save password. I'll select like suggested plugins here because this is very first time I'm going to configure my Jenkins. So I will have to wait for a while. And guys, keep this thing in mind when you are going to face interview. So you need to keep this things in mind. Like what are the default plugins are there? What are the plugins have you used? Like we have folders, we have like timestamper, we have pipeline, Git, LDAP, and these sort of things like we should be knowing, right? So we will have to wait for the time till the time it is available for us, and after that I am not going to go there, no. So we will have to wait only, like there is no option left. So it can take a while, maybe 1 or 2 minutes or maybe 3 minutes as well. So we will have to wait for that. But yes guys, this is going to be really informative and helpful in order to crack interview. And obviously, so in the meanwhile, what we are going to do, rather than just seeing this is getting installed, we can go here and we can do something else. So now what we are going to do, what we have done so far, we have installed Jenkins on this server, we have installed Java here. Let me type in what are the prerequisites here. So we will have to install Java on both. Let me make it a bit large here for you guys, because obviously you shall be able to read it properly. Java on both, right? Then after Jenkins on master, Jenkins on master only. And after that, what we are going to do, like SSH passwordless authentication we have enabled. And after that, what we have done, we are going to perform next step, like install default plugins. Install default plugins on master, right guys? So these are the things which we have done so far, and we are going to proceed further. So guys, these are the steps actually what we have done so far. Like I'm going to I'm just trying to show you this thing here, because whenever you will go to perform this sort of practical, so you should be knowing it, that what are the things you are going to perform, right? So okay, this is the particular thing. So this is almost done. So within a while only it will be done. What is going to be our next step? So when we will configure Jenkins master and slave, we will have to configure a couple of things, like what type of job should be running on Jenkins master and what type of job should be running on Jenkins slave, right? So these are the things which we are going to do. And like a person can ask you during interview that how will you define that all the some specific type of job should be running on master or slave, or what are the options available which are used to define that a job which you are going to execute, that will be executed on Jenkins master or Jenkins slave. So guys, there are a couple of options. As soon as this is done, I will definitely love to show you that. So in the meanwhile, let us wait for it for a single minute.
This conference will now be recorded.
We might be providing,
Come again,
providing an environment to them. We are installing all the plugins and setting up the build automation, right? That's what you are saying?
Yes. That is what I'm trying to say. So what happens here is, when you talk about that, let us say if there is a new requirement coming in, and a person is asking you, okay, like I want a new environment for 5 days. So what will be responsible to DevOps team here? DevOps team will like create a replica of existing environment. They will provide maybe separate database. That could be possible that the physical instance or maybe the VM is same, but they are going to create a new schema for with a new name for that new environment. That will be job of your DevOps, providing developers, QA, and other team proper access onto that environment, ensuring that environment is up and running for the particular like duration, whatever it is asked for. And let us say if there is an individual URL which is not working, there is any individual component which does not perform properly. If any QA or maybe developer or maybe like tester gets stuck somewhere, then DevOps team has to be there in order to provide proper assistance in that case.
Okay. Why I'm asking this is couple of days back I was interviewed in a company. So what I asked about the JUnit test engine. So that's why, because I never have like worked on that, but there is some confusion because I told them that these are part of testing framework, right? But they were no DevOps engineer do this testing. So that's what they said.
Okay. So what happens here is, so when we talk about that who is responsible to run the test cases, so guys keep this thing in mind. Obviously DevOps team is going to be responsible to run all the test cases, but test case writing and providing them and like test case automation, this is the pure job of QA engineers. It means quality assurance engineers are going to be responsible to write all the test cases, right? Because what happens here when we talk about QA engineers, so like you might have heard that they need QA automation engineer, right? So what does it mean, like QA automation engineer? Which means like whenever there is a new particular project going live, so like when we talk about CI/CD, let me tell you guys what does CI/CD mean here. So guys, we have two environments here. First of all, we have this development environment, and second environment is known as prod. So let me type in that one here. Let me create that particular part as well. So this is prod. So this will help us out to understand like CI/CD pipeline, right? So what happens here is, let us remove it because I hope that we are clear with that particular component. So there are two components. Either we can deploy a job from Jenkins to Jenkins, like, okay, I'm not saying Jenkins prod, I must say environment. Okay, so guys, there are different type of environments here. So let us talk about, we have like different environment like prod. Okay, then after we have another environment which is known as Jenkins slave, and other environments as well. So what happens here, Jenkins prod, we have Jenkins like we have prod environment, we have maybe SIT, we have QA, it means quality assurance, we have dev. So these are four environments which we have. So guys, keep this thing in mind. There are two words known as CI/CD. So CI/CD is not a single word, guys. There are two CDs. There are two things which are known as CD. First of all is known as CIC, which means continuous CI means continuous integration. It means whenever one developer is going to come and that developer is going to commit code into GitHub, right? So that code committing and the particular that Jenkins is notified, that is known as continuous integration part, right? But as soon as that Jenkins will pull the code from there and it will start deployment. So where it will do deployment, maybe onto dev environment, onto QA, SIT or prod. So guys, keep this thing in mind. If the Jenkins server is responsible to do automated deployment till dev, QA and SIT environment, that is known as continuous deployment. But if your code is that much robust, you have automated test cases written and everything is available up online, up and running. So, and you are that much confident that obviously you can push the code with the same pipeline, or maybe like within the same flow, you can push the code to production. So that thing is known as continuous delivery. Okay, so there are two CDs, like continuous deployment and continuous delivery. Continuous deployment is for non-production environment, and continuous delivery is meant for when you are going to push your code with the same flow, with the same pipeline, and within the same flow. Fine. So that is known as prod environment. That is continuous delivery. So delivery is meant for production environment, and deployment is meant for like remaining like non-production environment, right? So guys, almost we are done, and I don't know why it is taking that much time. That should not take that much. Not a problem. It could be possible some issues, maybe some plugins are not getting downloaded or updated. Okay, so guys, these are the environment. Now let us say we have one Jenkins prod, and maybe you can call that Jenkins master is here. We have Jenkins slave for QA and like so on and so forth. So what happens here, like this Jenkins master will trigger a job. So every job which will start with prod, that will be triggered on this server. Every job that will be starting with QA environment, that will get triggered here. Every job that will be triggered here, which is starting with SIT, will get triggered here, and with dev environment, that will get triggered here. So what does it mean, like every job which it starts with? So obviously when this particular server will be up and running, I will definitely demonstrate. So guys, this particular defining structure is known as, this particular structure what we will define, this is known as labels. So whenever we type a particular job name, whenever we give a job a complete name, maybe that is dev, that is QA, maybe that is for like developers, testers, production environment. So whatever environments we have, so based on that environment, we have to define a job name. But let us say when we are going to configure Jenkins master or slave, so before every job, whatever jobs you are going to create, whether that is pipeline, freestyle, multi-branch pipeline, so whatever type of jobs you are going to create, so these jobs should be there, and these jobs should be starting with the particular environment name, because based on these environment names only we are going to define whether these will get executed on QA server, on SIT server, or on dev server, or maybe on prod server. Jenkins master will start the like jobs will be triggered from here, but as soon as jobs will be triggered, so these jobs will get executed on these servers. This Jenkins master will send an instruction onto these servers, and maybe the particular artifact, the particular code build, and each and every component, whatever you perform, that will be triggered here only on the top of these slave machines. In fact, all the artifact, if you need to collect anything, all the artifacts will be available here. Maybe you want to see, let us say that you are going to build a maybe Maven or maybe Java project or maybe Golang project, whatever you are going to build. So all the tools, whether let us say that you are going to run a particular Java project, right? So Java project is usually built with Maven command. So Maven command has not to be installed only on Jenkins master, but onto all these slave machines as well. Otherwise, it will give you an error that the particular Maven command is not found, and so on and so forth. These sort of errors you will get if you do not perform the practical, if you do not install all the tools onto all these machines, right? Because Jenkins master is just going to give the instructions, but as you know guys, that there are some different binary files. That is why, if you remember, before some time only we installed like Java onto both machines. Why it is so? Because it could be possible that if I'm going to like replicate Jenkins master onto Jenkins slave, so what does it mean? So guys, keep this thing in mind, that should be done in such a way that if I have installed Java here on that Jenkins master node, so that should be replicated here, because I'm going to configure Jenkins slave. No, it is not like that. Whenever you are going to work, whenever you are going to configure this system and you want this to work, so all the tools, let us say you are going to create a Java project, so Maven and Java should be installed here. You are going to run a Golang project, which you are going to configure on Jenkins master, and you want to run it on QA server. So obviously, like Golang version should be available here, maybe that is Node, React, or maybe any other sort of language, any other sort of mode of development you have done. So all the compilation tool has to be available not only on master but on all these tools on these particular servers as well. It means like service binary has to be there. We are almost done and we are going to go next. It is saying getting started, so it means we are almost done. So within a single minute we should be forwarded to next. Yeah, yes, that's my favorite skin.
So
So I'm going to say
hello.
Yes.
So Loki, one more question here. So the environment that you showed up right now, if do we have to set up a specific project on the particular environment? Like, for example, if you are going to create a particular form, or if you are going to give a particular feature on a particular website, right? So a particular, so on the server, we will create the particular environment. That is a but what will be the daily work of the DevOps engineer on Jenkins? Like, I know we are creating a job, we just automate it, we do all these things, right? But that's a one-time job, right?
Yes, that is one-time job. So what happens here? So let us say when you are talking about that, what are the day-to-day tasks? So until and unless your CI/CD build is that much available, that your developer will do a code commit into GitHub, and that will notify Jenkins server with the help of Git webhook, right? So until and unless we have that sort of robust mechanism, till that time, obviously it is of no use that we are using CI/CD pipeline. Why it is so? Because in 90% cases, all the developers, when they send an email, that is a real-time scenario, guys. So whenever a developer sends an email that I have committed this particular code to GitHub, and this is the particular branch, or this is the tag name which you can use for doing your testing, so what do? They trigger the build manually. So in most of organizations wherever I have worked, so most of people obviously, like, they are saying that they are using CI/CD pipeline, but CI/CD pipeline does not mean that the deployment is taking place with the help of Jenkins. CI/CD pipeline means if the developer is going to commit anything into Git, so that should be like automated of that level. that whenever it is required to do a deployment, so without any human intervention required, right? Without any human intervention required, that should be like Jenkins should be pulling code from GitHub, that should be creating build, and based on the like different environments. So wherever the particular build is supposed to get deployed, maybe first off on dev, if build is successfully deployed there, then after all the test cases which we have written or which are provided from the side of QA team, that these are successful, then for sure it will go ahead and it will do the same activity on SIT environment. Maybe if it is successful on SIT, it will do the deployment on QA environment. If QA environment is also passed, right, then it can send up like notification to maybe approver. It will send a mail to approver, whoever is the maybe project manager, maybe business engineer, like maybe engineering managers, or maybe so on and so forth, whatever are the like head of the department who are supposed to approve the build which is being sent to production environment. So that will send a push notification to git server, and that will once again trigger the job for production environment. If we have that much stable and that much capability to do deployment, that means we are actually using CI/CD pipeline, otherwise not. So just using Jenkins tool for deployment purpose does not mean CI/CD. CI/CD means that is a single click. It means once a developer commits any code to GitHub and that is ready to be used by an end user, that is known as CI/CD. It does not mean that if you have a Jenkins server and you are using that Jenkins server in order to configure your couple of operations, in order to perform your couple of operations, that does really not mean that you are going to work with CI/CD pipeline, right? I hope I'm clear on that. So let us now talk about that. We were working with these servers. So I have this IP address, right? So what I'm going to do here is I will go to manage Jenkins. Guys, I'm not going to create any job. I will definitely demonstrate a couple of things to you. But first of all, I'm going to add and manage nodes, right? So as you see here, there is only one node, which is like Linux master, this much disk free space available. There is no swap available, response time 0 ms. Why it is so? Because we are working on the same physical server, same virtual machine, right? New node, I'll type in a name here, maybe Jenkins slave, and you can define a name, maybe Jenkins slave for QA, Jenkins slave for dev, Jenkins slave for maybe any other component, whatever name you want. This is just a description of that name, that node. So I'm going to hit OK. Now what it is going to say, this is going to be name description. I'm going to say Jenkins slave, SLAV slave. A number of executors. So as you see that number of executors are here too on Jenkins master. This is master node. So I can define here number of executors maybe as 5. Remote directory. So I know where my Jenkins slave. So if you remember guys here, so what is the what is the home directory of Jenkins users here? That is /home/Jenkins. So I'll copy that particular directory and I will paste that here. Why it is so guys? Because obviously I want that on my Jenkins master, see it here. This is my Jenkins master. So what is going to be working directory? Varlib Jenkins. So whatever I will perform here, so that data will be contained here. That data will be stored within this working directory. But on my slave, I want that whatever data I do, whatever operation I perform on this server, which is Jenkins slave, so data should be stored here under /home/Jenkins, right? So now what I'm going to do, labels. Labels means all the jobs which are starting with dev and asterisk. It means all the jobs which will start from dev, so that will be used, that will be triggered on this Jenkins slave, right? There are two options, like only build jobs with label expression matching on this node. So I want that all the jobs which are starting with /dev or maybe dev asterisk, right? So these job will be executed here. So this is the particular option which usually people want to know, like use this much node as much as possible. So whether the job is starting with dev or not, so that job can be executed here. Or if you set this condition that only the jobs which are matching with this particular label expression, right? So that should be executed here. Now you should have a question that what is the particular option which we do have in production environment. So guys, obviously we have, if we have like individual slaves, individual Jenkins slave for individual environment, then we keep this particular option. Otherwise, most of organizations like to use this server like this only, like use this not as much as possible, right? But in our case, I'm going to opt this option because I really want to show that this will execute only those jobs which are starting with dev, right? Then after, like agent label configure master. So how we are going to integrate this thing? Like I want launch agent by connecting it to master. or I want launch agent via execution of command on the master. So I'm going to do this now. And what is the command which I'm going to run? So guys, if you remember, I'll hit here. I will go to this particular section. I will check that what is the particular command I need to run. So guys, this is the particular command. Like I will have this command here. What is going to be the command? So first of all, like SSH, then host name. So rather than providing host name, what I will do here is I will go to the server. I'll pick IP address. Guys, I'm doing this step by step, as you should also be able to perform the same, right? So rather than providing host name, I'll say Jenkins, because if you remember, Jenkins is the username which we made password-less authentication, right? So this is the particular thing. But guys, if you know that we do not have this jar, this particular agent.jar available on the server, so obviously that will be a challenge for us, right? So what we are going to do? So I have specified the command like SSH Jenkins @ this is the server IP, this is my Jenkins slave server, then java-jar home Jenkins agent.jar. That jar file is not available there. Let me show you that there is no jar file available, such as if we do a pwd home Jenkins, and this particular server will be looking for a jar file there with the name of agent. Like, so what I'll do here is I'll copy this, like a copy of agent.jar file can be downloaded here. I'll copy link address. I'll go to my Jenkins slave, and what I'll do, I'll run a command wget. I'll hit, and obviously that agent file is available here now. Okay, right? So agent.jar is available right now. Agent.jar file is available right now. Now I'll go next. I'll hit next here. So that particular command has been configured. Now availability. Now guys, there are 3 options available here. Once again, like keep this node online as much as possible. Like, why do we have these 3 options, guys? So these are the options which are given, because see, like sometimes we have to configure these nodes on cloud as well, like where we have to pay, like pay as you go. Like whenever you are running a server, you will have to pay for it, and when you have a maybe data center, you have a virtual machine that is running on VMware, and you have already paid for it, so there is no need to select these options. But obviously I would love to explain that. Bring this agent online according to schedule. Let us say we know very well that our Jenkins server runs from 9 AM in the morning till 8 PM in the evening. So obviously this server will like this particular agent will be online only for the scheduled time. Like bring this agent online when in demand. It takes offline when ideal. So we can define here like when the server has to come online and when the server has to go offline, right? So these are the things. But for now, for this practical, I'm going to use keep this agent online as much as possible, right? Now, like disable deferred wiped out node. So like if I want, like if this node is not accessible, then this will be wiped out. Environment variables, if you want to add any, and then after, if you have any like tool location, maybe you want to have Git, Docker, or maybe any other component. So guys, there is no such drop down list available as of now. Why it is so? Because if you see that I have not installed any customized tools here, right? So otherwise there will be a default like a long list of tools which you can opt later on, right? So what I need to do here is I'll hit save. So guys, what happened here? Like obviously there is a particular server here, Jenkins slave, right? But if you say clock difference not available, free disk space not available, free swap space not available, free time time space not available, everything, it means there's a particular red cross mark here. What does it mean? It means that this server is not online now. But if you see, like obviously there are a couple of things available which I can easily see. What does it mean? Like obviously I have Jenkins master, I have 2 executors available. What does this executor mean? Like the number of jobs which can run in parallel on this server, right? So for my slave, I set the number of 5, and for my master I set the number of 2, right? So okay, what do I need to do here is I'll hit on this particular button, and after that what I'll do here is as soon as I hit, I will see like there is a label, like what are the labels available here, configure, load statics, and other components. I would like to see, I can see it here. Once again, if I go back onto nodes, so guys, now you can see like earlier that red cross mark that has gone away, that is Linux AMD 64 machine in sync. This much free space is available there. Why it is so? Because we have installed Jenkins and other component on the server which are not there, right? Then after we have free disk space, and what is the latency? Like response time, like 93 millisecond is response time from slave, and 0 millisecond response time is from my master. Why it is so? Because this is the actual server where I am going to work. Okay. Now, what I'll do here is I will create a job here. Let me create a job with the name of dev project, right? If I do a dev project here, I simply create as a freestyle job. I'll do one thing, just only two sample commands I'm going to execute here. Maybe any of the two commands, maybe I can run like date, cal, and whatever command I want to run, because I just want to show that how does it work. Maybe I can run the date command here, maybe cal command, fine. Maybe pwd command I want to run, whatever I want, I can execute it here, right? I'll hit save, and after that I'll hit on build now. So let us see, guys, here what happens. Command is executed. See, guys, what is happening here? It started by user admin, fine. If you want to see like what are the options available here, running a system, building workspace over here, like these are the particular commands which are executed. But if you need to check where has this is like where is this particular executed, so guys, you can see like building on master workspace, building on master workspace. But if we go here on this master, and if we try to configure like this particular like configure global configure system, so we will see a couple of things here. Obviously, I'm going to modify a couple of things here. So see, what is the option? Use this node as much as possible. I'm going to say only build job with labeled expression matching on the system, and I'm not going to define any expression here, right? I have modified that. Now what I'll do here is I'll go to my Jenkins once again. I will go to this project. I'll hit again like build now. Job will be executed. But if you see pending slave is reserved for jobs with matching label expression. Jenkins is reserved for jobs with matching label expression. What does it mean? Like it could be possible Jenkins, the particular job which I have created, that does not match the exact label there. That is why it is saying pending. Why it is showing pending here, guys? Because pending Jenkins slave is reserved for the jobs with matching label expression. Jenkins, right, is reserved for job with the matching label expression. So right, what happened here is like over there I have said like dev, obviously like there might be some spelling mistake or something like. So right now there is no server available which is ready to accept the traffic, right? So what I can do here is, in this case, when I have said like whatever jobs like are executed, it should be sent to any slave server, right? So I'm going to do that right now. And node, I'll hit this particular, I'll go to configure what uses, I'll say use this node as much as possible, and obviously dev dot asterisk save. Once again I'll go back, and guys, see I'm on my Jenkins master, right? So if I run this particular job, so see guys, this is also the button which I can hit to schedule the build, right? So build is executed 2 times, so I can once again check whether the build is executed or not. If I hit this job once again, I want to check where the job is executed. So we will be able to see like started by system user admin, right? Running build, build running on remote Jenkins slave. Why it is so asterisk dot this in workspace? Fine. In workspace, where on my Jenkins server. See the guy difference here. Earlier, see if I want to show you here that if I want to show you the particular output of first job and third job, see the difference here. So earlier the Jenkins workspace was varlib Jenkins workspace, then dev project. But if you show the particular, if I show you the particular job which is recently executed, which is of build number 4, so what it is saying, home Jenkins workspace dev project. So over here, what is going to be that? So if I run the command here, maybe workspace, and over here the particular dev project. So this is how, guys, we can set like what job should be executed where. Like when I have said that use this particular node with label expression match, then on the both servers I said that only the labeled expression matching job should be executed. So if you remember that job number 2 was in pending state, right? And when I executed once again the same job, after saying that my slave node should be used as much as possible, so that Jenkins master started sending all job. Maybe that is matching the pattern or maybe that is not, so that all the jobs will be sent to your Jenkins slave only, right? So this is how it works, and I hope this has been informative.